Hey everyone, John Steingraber here, founder of the New Jersey Real Estate Social Network, Joshua Homebuyers, and the Joshua Financial Fitness Program. Welcome. At last month's NJRESN event, I taught how to sell your house in 30 days, and I gave out a 17-page marketing checklist for everyone to implement when they're going to sell a house. We basically broke down the whole marketing process of what you have to do to drive massive traffic to your open house. We got over 100 people to our open house this past Sunday. Over 50 of them were buyers. The other 50 or so were investors we invited out to check out the house so they could learn how we found it, how we funded it, and put the whole deal together. Those of you who are on our email list, we've been sending free templates and documents that you can use to market your next open house. I hope those emails were useful to you. If you're not on our list, you should join us at NJRESN.com so you can get those type of emails too. These are the same tools we use to get a ton of people at the open house, and it was a huge success since we got an offer the other day after the open house, and we are already in attorney review. So just a few days on the market, and we already have a great offer. So we picked up the house for $120,600, and we didn't do any work to it, and now we're going to bank about $90,000 on this deal as long as this buyer closes. So how's that for the start of the second half of the year? I hope you're having a good start as well. Anyway, enough about last month. Let's talk about what's coming up. So the long-awaited Raising Private Money event is coming up now, next Wednesday on July 9th. If you haven't heard or RSVP'd yet, we're having another networking party, and the topic for the evening is raising private money. I'm going to show you how to raise over $1 million in private money. So when I first got started in real estate, this was my biggest challenge, but I figured it out with help of mentors, books, seminars, and a lot of hard work. I created a script and a process that works for raising private money. In fact, I've never used hard money in my whole real estate career. I've always been able to raise private money for every deal I've done, right? From people at networking events and other people I've met along the way. So simply stated, I'm going to show you how to find private lenders, how to approach them, the exact questions to ask, how to qualify them, and how to present to them, and then finally how to raise private money from them. It's a proven process that I've used to raise millions of dollars over the years. And I started this journey back in 2007, and I remember how hard it was to ask people for money, especially because I didn't know what I was doing. And until I figured out the exact questions that you have to ask to get people interested in what you're doing, and the exact presentation to give to get people comfortable with what you're doing, I didn't have success. But I figured it out. So I'm going to show you how to raise over $1 million in private money at the upcoming event. Now think about that. How many more deals could you do if you had that kind of money? Could it help you get your first deal done? So most people, they think that raising private money is some complex, complicated process. But when you break it down, it's quite simple. People need to feel three things. Number one, they need to feel safe. Right? They need to feel safe with what they're doing. Number two, they have to feel like what they're investing in is a good investment and they're getting a good return, right? And third, they need to feel like you know what you're doing. So how to accomplish that? You have to be confident, you have to ask the right questions, you have to show a lot of supporting evidence, and show them and explain your business model. So I'm going to break all these down for you at the event. It's going to be very, very eye-opening for you to see how much money you're going to be able to raise with this process. It's going to be very simple, and it's going to be all broken down for you. So financing can be really, really expensive if you don't use private money. I mean, think about it. There's two things in real estate that are the most expensive: construction and raising private money, right? But watch this. Let's see how much your financing would cost on, just a deal that you buy for $150,000 and you renovate it for $50,000. So a total of $200,000. That's what you need in financing, right? Let's say you're holding it for 6 months and you're using a hard money lender to, finance a transaction. How much are you spending in financing? Well, if you're paying the typical 14% and 4 points, you're spending $22,000 in financing just for somebody writing a check, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't use hard money. It's always better to do a deal, if you don't have the other money. But, I'm not saying don't use hard money, but you probably should try to get private money, right? Come out to this event and learn. So if you want to implement what I'm going to teach you, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go and spend, $20-something thousand in hard money. You can keep most of that money in your pocket. So some other people choose to joint venture with somebody, right? They don't want to borrow hard money. They'll rather find somebody that has money and say, hey, I'll give you 50% of my profits if you do this deal with me. Well, if you're making, let's say, $50,000 profit, you're giving a lot of money, $25,000 in finance. That's what it's costing you to finance that deal with somebody. That's even more than hard money. So let's say you do learn what I'm teaching you this Wednesday, and you actually go out and you apply it, right? And you borrow money at 8% interest with no points, which is typical. Your financing costs for 6 months will only be $8,000 on $200,000 investment. That's a $14,000 difference from a hard money lender, and it's a $17,000 difference, from a joint venture. How would you like to put $14,000 to $17,000 in your pocket every single deal? I mean, think about it. If you do 6 deals in 1 year, that's $93,000 in savings. Don't leave that money on the table. Learn how to raise private money. It's probably your best return on investment in time. We work way too hard to leave that much money on the table. You might be thinking, well, John, who's going to lend me $200,000, right, at 8% interest? Well, ask the next 10 people that you see. Ask the next 10 people. Do that little experiment. Ask the next 10 people that you see if they would be satisfied, use that word, with a return of 8% if it was secured. And they would get the money back within 6 to 12 months. See what happens. See out of the 10 people, how many people would say, yeah, I would consider that. Most people don't have specific investment knowledge like you and I. They have to go out, and invest in the stock market or walk into a bank. They can't get great returns on their money. Right? And they're sick and tired of all the false promises that Wall Street offers. The stock market just keeps going up and down. I read an article just recently that, the stock market is about to plunge 50%. Now, whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter, right? The fact is that they're scared. So they want other things that they can invest in. And quite frankly, with this economy, they need to get a better return on investment. So, did you know that people can lend real estate investors money from their IRAs, 401ks, and other retirement accounts? Yeah. So instead of doing the traditional walk into a bank, put their money in there, and get 1%, they can take their retirement money and they can lend it to us as investors and get a lien on a property. That's called a self-directed retirement investment. I borrowed money time and time again from people's 401ks, their IRAs, and basically, they lend me money, they get a lien just like a Bank of America would or a Chase, right? And all the profits, when we go to sell the property, their interest goes back into their retirement account, and they're happy campers. Imagine your 401k, your IRA, if you have one, imagine you putting your money to work at 8%, and it's secured by real estate. I mean, would that satisfy you? Maybe. Most people that don't have any investment knowledge, that would be great, right? In fact, imagine if you could drive by your retirement investment. See, most people invest in the stock market, mutual funds. They don't really know what they're investing in. But real estate, it's tangible. You can drive by it. I can go on and on, but I'll put it like this, okay? There are a lot of people out there that are looking for 8% return on investment. There's a lot more people out there looking for 8%, right? Looking for 8% return on investment than people offering it. So if you're one of those people, like me, that offer 8% rate of return, and you follow my process, you'll have success because there's a lot of people out there. So come out to the next real estate networking event. Like I said, topics raising private money. I'm going to break down the whole process for you. Come to network, learn, and take your real estate investment business to the next level. Okay? It's on July 9th at the Westwood in Garwood, New Jersey. RSVP at NJRESN.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next event. Have a great weekend and a happy 4th of July. And if you're watching this video afterwards, I hope you had a safe one. Thank you. Bye-bye.